How's it, everyone? This is Lolcohol. I'm going to be going through the speedrun for Monk in the PoE 2 Boss Race 3. This is going to be a general guide for speedrunning, people wanting to get into it. There's not a lot of resources on like all the tricks and all the layout stuff. So this video, if you're interested in getting into speedrunning or maybe just want to have a faster campaign, I'll be talking through this. I'm going to break it up into acts 1, 2, and 3 because it'll end up being quite long. There's also a Discord for people who are interested. I'll link that in the description. We have a whole lot of stuff about layouts, like all these different layout things you can see over here. We've got something like this for all the zones so far. But this was the race from last night. I got 5th Monk, 47th overall. There were some ups and downs, but it mostly went well. So starting out in the Riverbank, just run straight to the Miller. On Monk, what we're doing is we want to actually get up against this wall, right? This prevents him from using his charge attack. We can normally just tank this slam. I think it does have a chance to crit. I'm not sure, but I have been killed by that once or twice. So it's a little bit risky to just stand in it. You kind of roll out the way and then just use your health pot to sustain through it and then just punch him down. On different classes, you may not be able to do this. You might have to stand back a bit, then just watch out for his charge attack. But there we get him down, leveling up. And these first few drops, very important. If you can get movement speed boots, it's like insanely good for a speedrun. For me, on Monk, what I'm looking for is movement speed early on and then just like a nice quarter stuff, preferably with a little bit of elemental damage or flat damage. Here we get our first quest reward. It's a level 1 gem, and we're going to be taking Frostbomb. So we click the elemental. That way you don't have to type in Frostbomb. You click elemental, then click Frostbomb. And now this is something I do I play WASD. So I like putting Frostbomb on Q and R, at least my main skill on Q and R. That way, if I'm moving left, I can hit R to cast Frostbomb. If I'm moving right, I can hit Q. If it's just on the one, you might be moving right, and then you have to kind of like move your finger up like this. Then the next gem, grabbing Glacial Cascade. And we're going to be running over to the Devourer. So I'll talk more about Clearfell in a sec, but let's talk about the Devourer. This area is actually pretty straightforward. So the Devourer boss is actually kind of in a straight line from the entrance. So thank you to Fire for this tip. But the layout, normally you're going to be coming in like at an angle, but you have to imagine it if it was like straightened out like this, and then the Devourer will be in a straight line, like directly opposite. So this one, I remember thinking, is this a down layout or a left layout? But you can see it opens up to the left, and then the boss is like directly in line. For this dude, if you're playing toe-to-toe, like melee, then you need to watch out for his slam. He's also got another attack where he spits at you, which is really dangerous. But at least on Monk and range builds, you can just stand back and like roll out of the way of these. These are pretty easy. But we're doing Devourer. He gives us a level 2 gem, and Renly gives us a support gem, which is very important early on. Can also grab a little bit of XP here, maybe get a decent drop. Grab that, and we're TPing out. And now, there we go. Got a decent staff. So normally here I would hope to get a decent staff from Renly, but we actually got a decent one from the Devourer. Now another thing, Regex, right? So you can have these little strings, which you press Control F, it selects the search bar. You can then have a pre-made Regex that will highlight specific items that meet that requirement. So my one is things like damage to attacks and armor and spirit, maximum life, I think resistances and movement speed. So those things will be highlighted. So check, if you're playing this, very important to get a good early weapon. If you can just get like, at least with Monk, flat damage to attacks like lightning damage, fire damage, physical damage, all that is going to speed you up. All attack-based builds, that's going to be the case. I think for casters, like if you're playing Sorceress, you're looking for +2 cold spell skill gems. Here I made a little bit of a mistake. I didn't actually hit the waypoint at the mud burrow, so I had to run out to Clearfell. It's not a big mistake, but grabbing Martial Tempo, I'm putting that on my Quarterstaff Strike for now. and just running and moving and casting the Frostbomb ahead of me, trying to get the monsters to pop in it as I'm moving. And then Beira, very important. Beira, she gives us 10% cold resistance from a reward and also has potentially good drops. On League Sot, farming Beira can be a really good way to just get some really good early gear. She has a good chance to drop some rare items or even unique items. A lot of people will farm her for things like Ghost Writhe. And here we're looking just for, we've got a stuff, but just looking for another one. Preferably want to hit level 3 before you get to Grelwood, but in this case, I didn't, but it's not a big deal. So now, Grelwood. The area is composed sort of like a diamond, and we're going to grab, by the way, we're grabbing Contagion. Before we do this, let's talk about Areagne, because this thing is a pain in the butt. So going to her hut, she drops 2 flasks, very important. And then for this fight, a lot of classes are using Frostbomb. It's really good early on. So coming out of her hut, I'm actually dropping a Frostbomb. You can't really see it. It's behind my camera. But I'm dropping a Frostbomb where she's going to spawn so that when she does spawn, it pops on her like that. And then hopefully getting a good bit of damage because she is super annoying. This boss, she teleports everywhere. She's like amazing at juking your Frostbombs like that. Even when you stun her, she somehow dodges them. Lightning Mirage, horrible, but kill her. She's going to drop us another support gem on Monk. So one of Monk's problems, I suppose, is that you need a ton of gems. You need a ton of support gems. So other classes might get away with not doing her, but Monk, we want to do her. Now, what we're doing, grabbing Conk Effect for our Glacial Cascade, but Contagion, what it does is you I guess, infect an enemy, and then when you kill it, that infection spreads throughout packs. So this is really, really good for the first few areas of Act 1. I'm going to be getting another gem in a sec, but just poison an enemy and then kill it, and then it spreads, and it should be enough. Now, for Grelwood, this area has a pretty interesting layout. Let me just show you. So Grelwood, it's kind of this shape, right? This is a rough example of Grelwood. So we've got this like diamond pattern. Sometimes you'll come out here and it'll be a bit different. Again, we saw some weird layouts in the first couple of races, but yeah, there's this diamond pattern. So you saw I got Areagne's hut, and then at the top it was the tree of whispers. Over here where I am now, this is the bramble, and then at the bottom is going to be the grim tangle. These can shuffle around. Like you might find the grim tangle at the top, and then at the bottom will be the tree. But usually, almost always, you've got this boss, and then the red veil will be next to it, and the red veil also pretty much always spawns next to water. So keep a lookout for that. Then for this boss, this is something that I just do. I haven't seen anyone else do this, but I really like Frozen Locust. It's such a good clear skill, really good panic skill. If you're getting swarmed, you just drop your Frozen Locust. So Brambleghast, he drops us a level 2 uncut skill gem, which I'm going to use to get that Frozen Locust. And yeah, we just kill him, grab that. Another thing for this area, so we're trying to get all the checkpoints for those points of interest. Areagne first, and then we really want to get the waypoint at the tree. And then what I'm doing over here, I know that the red veil is going to be close to the boss room. Grabbing that. And here, there's the checkpoint. So checkpoint, I'm actually now going to run to the Grim Tangle because I want to just get that waypoint. We're going to have to go back there later. Killing stuff on the way, and we actually go into the Grim Tangle, grab the waypoint, and then pop out, and then we take the checkpoint back to the Red Veil, and now we're in the Red Veil. Just remember, these flasks that you got from Areagne's hut, these require level 4, so as soon as you're able to, do equip them, but just make sure that if you're equipping them, you're doing so near a checkpoint so that they refill, because you can pop them on, they'll be empty, and then if you get surrounded, you can die. So Red Veil, let's look at this area. This area is really, really good for XP, especially with Essence Drain Contagion. Not Essence Drain. I'm using Frozen Locust Contagion. And this area, we have a 20-something page document on the Red Veil if you want to learn. There's about 8 different layouts. Otherwise, just another trick for this area is we're looking for the Obelisks of Rust. if you're playing with sound, you can actually hear the sound of the obelisk before you get to it. Also, the ground kind of changes color a little bit. It's like it goes a bit more red. But here I'm just clearing stuff as I go. I'm looking for level 5 in this area as well, which is pretty easy with Contagion. It clears very, very nicely. There, I'm just swapping my Glacial Cascade so it's next to my Quarterstaff Strike, because for some bosses, I want to be able to swap the gems between the two. So here, I think at this point I recognize the layout where we can speed up. Yep, here's first obelisk, lots of monsters. Just hit them with a Contagion and then Frozen Locust, Frozen Orb them. And now next one I know is just like a little bit above. This is an area you can either study it or you just run it enough and you start recognizing the layouts. But it's not like a horrible place to get lost in because the XP is really nice, at least with Locust and Contagion. Unless you're going for like world record, then you obviously do not want to get lost. But here, okay, another thing, Rust King. So I'm dropping a Frost Bomb on him. He says his line when he's going to spawn, and then you wait a couple of seconds, drop a Frost Bomb, so when he spawns in, it pops on him, like that. And then I'm just trying to keep distance. With Glacial Cascade, the end of the spike is where you're getting the most damage. So we're just trying to pop him down, keeping good damage. If you don't have a half decent stuff with like flat damage, this fight is way slower. Here I'm just popping on a Frostbomb and a Contagion so that I can portal out, but I think I missed the Contagion or something. And then this gem is going to be the first gem of many Tempest spells. So on Monk, we're going to be getting a lot of Tempest spells for single target, hitting the well, checking Una. Something I'm doing here, just grabbing some ID scrolls. I actually have way too many. Something I'm kind of bad at currently is just like gold management. I'll like spend too much on IDs and ID like early items that sell for less than the price of an ID scroll. So it's probably better to sell. Like that thing's only worth 19 and I paid 25 for the ID, so it's not worth. Over here, going back to Renly, we're going to hand in Rusted Spikes and then check again for upgrades. So every time you level up, part of the vendor's inventory will refresh. So I'm now looking for preferably gloves with flat damage to attacks. That'll be major damage. I'm also looking for an offhand weapon, because later on we're going to be using Shield Charge and Leap Slam. So that weapon I just bought had strength, which is nice. It means we need 16 strength for Shield Charge. We need 52 strength for Leap Slam. And so any weapon with like increased attack speed, strength, those are all useful in our offhand. And there, I just stored in a socketed item for later when we get Renly's tools so that we can salvage it. Now what we do, we go to Renly, get the spikes, head back to the Grelwood, and we're going to stab all these seals and then immediately TP out, right? Because we need to talk to Una. And then we yap. By the way, if you want to skip all the dialogue, you can just like click off to the side of her thing, and then you can click through really quickly all the dialogue. Take the waypoint back to the Grim Tangle, which we got. Here's a nice little trick. Speak to Una, right? The moment you click off her, and then respawn a checkpoint, that skips her song. So you don't have to sit there for her yodeling. As for Grim Tangle, again, we have a lot of research on this area. If you want to read a very long document on it, you are more than welcome to. That's in the Discord. But otherwise, this is another area you sort of get to know a little bit better. It has like a few different layouts. Oh, Iron Ring. Iron Ring is big. Any flat damage to attacks is really big. There I'm grabbing my bell. I found that another clue are these shiny mushrooms. I found that, I don't know if it's right, but I like following the shiny mushrooms. I feel like they often guide you to victory. And here, just essence, no, not essence drain, Contagion, Locust. As you can see, like I'll probably use one over here on this pack. This is why I like Locust so much. There, it just like freezes everything and then you Contagion and run away. Now in this area, there's also the boss. He's the Druid. So I'm doing this guy. Again, we need lots of gems, lots of support gems. And he drops the support. So we're doing this. This attack, pretty scary. Just keep moving, hitting him with that. And he's down. We grab the support, grabbing more socketed items. Later on, we're really going to need some Artificer's Orbs. So grabbing socketed items, weapons with quality is all very important. And then Symmetry of the Eternals. So absolutely want to be level 6 by here so that we can use our Tempest Spell. And now what I'm looking for are, I'm looking to hit the checkpoints. Mausoleum of the Praetor, we're going to kill Draven in there. And then we're also looking for Tomb of the Consort so we can kill Areagne. Another thing that's important in this area, if you are playing an attack-based build, is there is a sarcophagus that drops a ring. And it has potential to be an iron ring, which is big damage. Here I'm grabbing Execute on my Tempest Spell. And now I'm just running the edges. This is another area I don't know. We haven't quite figured out yet. So I just normally run on the edge and hope. Pretty often you will find the things, but I'm not going into any of those areas yet. I first want to find this iron ring. And there we go. We got the iron ring. So now we actually have 2. So our damage is really good at this point. And now we're heading into Tomb of the Consort. So this area, again, I don't believe there's any firm layout thing that like is an obvious clue, but sometimes I get lost in here, but I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll probably figure it out with some time. But here I'm killing this guy. This is the Haunted Treasure. Killing this dude gives us another support gem. And there I was just swapping out my martial tempo so that I could put it on my Quarterstaff Strike. Glacial Cascade is really good, but if you can't get range on the enemy, it feels terrible. So that's why I put my Glacial Cascade and my Quarterstaff Strike right next to one another so that I can swap the gems very quickly. And here, I remember thinking like, nope, actually, I'm not going to fight that. That's going to kill me. Just keeping on moving as we're going. Here, I'm another iron ring. Did I run past that? What the frick? I didn't even see that drop. Oh yeah, here's some nice XP. So, whoa, wrong way. There was a rare pack there. One of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with, and I'm still coming to grips with, is just like when to stop and kill stuff. I feel like if you have an idea of the level that you want to be around and the kind of gear you need, then it becomes clearer. So I know that for me personally, I want to be around level 8 when I kill Draven. There's a nice little rare pack. And I know that it could drop a rune, it could drop movement speed boost, it could drop a staff, it could drop currency. There's a lot of stuff. So this little rare pack that I just killed over here, I felt was probably worth stopping for good XP, potentially good drops. And then, like, if you're going for world record, maybe you don't stop for this. But for me, like, the XP is so good, and he probably drops me something as well. Does have the potential to kill me, but yeah, he drops me a Flask. No really good drops. So support gem, I remember thinking, where'd I go? I went for Mag Effect on my Locust, and there I put the Conk Effect from my... So I put Concentrated Effect and Execute on my Tempest Spell. And on my Quarterstaff Strike, I actually have a Lightning Infusion and a Martial Tempo. So you can use Glacial Cascade and Frostbomb on Areagne, but if she's able to close the distance between you, which is not often, but it can happen, it makes it a bit awkward. I feel just more comfortable using Quarterstaff Strike. There's a lot of different things you can do that work. And the more I've been playing, the more I've found like, oh, there's not necessarily a best way to do something. Sometimes something will just feel better, like at least with a gem setup. So there I hit my level 8. We're heading into the Mausoleum of the Praetor. Draven can be a little bit spooky. He can kill you. He can one-shot you if your life isn't high enough. And what I'm looking for now is the edge of the boss tile. So let me just show you quickly. So in Tomb of the Praetor, the only current clue I've seen is that this boss room has these nice little bumpy edges. And you can sometimes spot it. Like if you're running over here, you might reveal the side of this boss room. And then you know, oh, okay, it's over here. This seems to, it generally seems to spawn on the far end. Like if you come in here, it'll be generally there. But we've seen some weird layouts where it's in like completely different places. But what I'm mainly doing in this area is I'm fishing for this edge to try and see if I can see that. So we can see if I got it or not, but we're just looking for that. And I think we do eventually spot it. No, we didn't actually. We didn't spot it, but there's also the lead up tile with the checkpoint. Here I'm doing the same thing, just dropping a Frost Bomb on him so that it pops when he spawns, and then I'm using my Quarterstaff Strike and my Bell. And then Acinia comes to assist, just hit him with some Glacial Cascades as you dodge those. This attack, if you're just behind him, you're totally fine. It kind of like does a sideways to the side, and then just hitting him with the belt. My gear is like decent at this point. That attack, if that attack shotguns you, you're just dead meat. So after this, what we're doing is we're actually going to TP back to town, because if we take Cemetery of the Eternals, there's no checkpoint at the waypoint. So we have to run back to go fight Lachlann. And here, just selling stuff and also looking for upgrades. This is something I'm like a little bit slow at, I feel like. Oh, here. Lightning damage to attacks, grabbing that. That's really good. Allows us to inflict shock on our bell, which we can then transfer to the enemy. Here I'm just popping in these socketed things for later and trying to keep my inventory clean. Go back to Cemetery of the Eternals. And now another little trick. So when you open this gate, what you can do is you hit this checkpoint and then instantly respawn at checkpoint. That skips his dialogue because he has a really, really long yap session after you spawn him. So if you do that, it skips his whole dialogue. You go straight into the fight. Don't get hit by these attacks, and then it's the same thing. Frostbomb, drop the bell. This fight, if you don't have the damage, is horrendous. It is really bad. If you do have the damage, it's pretty easy. And then we just nuke him down with a bell, and he's going to drop us a level 3 skill gem. This we are going to be using for shield charge. So shield charge, there we go. We grab the shield charge, and now we have our offhand weapon. I'm keeping that thing because it has quality, that little mace. Getting the checkpoint for Freythorn. This area, all points of interest in the hunting grounds, it's sort of like this, where it's most points of interest, they're not exactly in the corner, but if you just run the edge, then you will find the points of interest fairly reliably. There's a ritual in the middle that I do end up going for. Also, you can see the boss room. You'll know you found the boss room when you see this tile. But for this area, my thing is just run around the edges, tag the checkpoints, and then try to stay alive. Because these little crabs, these things are scary. Again, nice little magic pack, rare pack, get the experience. This guy, I think I abort mission because he's a lightning mirage gorilla. No one wants to deal with that. And now just running the edge, tagging the Ogham Farmlands checkpoint. And then there's another thing over here. We can kill this Dryad. This guy's going to drop us another support gem. So over here, drop the bell. Nice drop. Got a desert rune. If you get to that Dryad and you want the support and you feel like you've dragged too many monsters with you, what you can do is hit that checkpoint, then just respawn a checkpoint, and then there won't be like 7,000 monsters around you while you're trying to fight him. But now our goal in this area is hit level 9, 10, so that we can spec into our shield charge. We need 16 strength for that. And I think we find the boss up here. Yeah, there we go. I can see here's the boss. So this guy, very important to do your Crow Bell. He drops us a Book of Specialization, plus 2 skill points. And then grabbing the book. And what we're going to do, so we don't have to run out, is respawn a checkpoint. And then we can take that checkpoint back to another checkpoint. So on this version of the build, we need so many gems. I'm actually going to go for the ritual. And I'm going to allocate the strength. This allows us to use our shield charge. And now I am looking for the ritual, which is pretty spooky. Very good XP, but also quite rippy. I think I actually die here. I think this is my first death. I got like chonked by a monkey. This guy like just jumped out of nowhere. And these little crabs are horrendous. If again, you get to the ritual and you want to do this for the XP and the gem, and it's just really, really overwhelming, there's too many monsters, you can tag the checkpoint, respawn a checkpoint, and then like fish for different rare mobs. But I think, yeah, this was my first death. That monkey just like came out of nowhere. And now we have the 1 minute wait of shame. But this is very important that we get this. I actually hit level 10 as well, which is very big. So level 10, we get a new flask. Keeping up to date with your flask, very, very, very important. Unfortunately, there's pretty much no other source of life recovery other than flasks early on. So keeping your flasks up to date, knowing when you get those new flasks is very important. So we have our level 4 flask, our level 10 flask, and then later on we get a level 16 flask, taking the checkpoint to Ogham Farmlands. And now let me show you. So at least on Monk, what we do is we want to have multiple bells. So I'm going to right click this, but first, before you do that, you need to remove your Tempest spell, any equipped Tempest spells, then right click it and make a new one. Otherwise what happens is it just levels up your existing Tempest spell. So remove that. Now I have 2 Tempest spells, popping in those. This area, it's mostly easy to read, but sometimes you get a bit weird layouts. Yeah, I remember at this point I started struggling because I was hoping for some more gem drops because I wanted to level up my Frozen Locust. Frozen Locust at level 4 tends to just pop and kill these kinds of enemies, but I haven't found any extra skill gems. But let me also just talk about this area. So we're looking for Una's Loot, right? Una's Loot is actually fairly easy to find. So there is a tile that precedes Una's Loot. This over here, this is actually a hut and some carts. And if you see this, you know that Una's Loot is on the other side. So that's kind of how I knew to go there. I think I saw that tile like a little bit over here. So I just went in. This area, normally either left or right is going to be blocked off. So you can go around and then try find Una's Loot. And this area also, it tends to run in a straight line-ish. Sometimes you'll get a layout like this, which is just a dead straight line where you can see the hunting grounds over here. And then we go to Ogham Village. But sometimes you also get a layout where it does like a bit of a twist and a turn. So it goes like this, you'll hit a wall, and then you'll go this way or the other way. I don't know exactly how to read this yet to know if it's left or right. We'll look into it, but there is one fairly obvious clue at least, where you know you're in the right spot. So let me just move this. This tile you can see over here, it's like a square and then like a line and a square and a cross. This is consistent for the Ogham Village exit. So at least if you're coming through here and you see this, you can say, okay, I know if I just go there and there, I will find the exit. You can see this tile on like every single layout, almost every single layout. You see that same tile. Sometimes it's like this, right? This one's a little bit different, but it still has this tile over here. Also the ground makes it a little bit obvious. So you'll see, let's keep going. Over here, I'm just running. I've now equipped my shield charge. I only have a level 2 Locust, which is why I'm struggling to kill stuff, but I'm still getting through it. Now, because we've been a bit unlucky with gem drops, I'm now looking out for the Crop Circle. Crop Circle over here, this gives us a level 4 skill gem, which on Monk, I'm going to turn into a bell, which I feel like was a bit of a mistake. I kind of wish that I had used this to get a Locust level 4, but I kind of thought we would have got it. Aha, you can see, here's the tile, right? This is the tile that I was showing you. But the ground also changes. You can see there's like these, like it's cobbly, and then there's the cornfield, so I know that it's going to be off to the left every single time. Now, we're going back to Ogham Village, grabbing the waypoint, and we're going to go back to town. So what I'm looking for here, I wake up the hooded one. Some people don't pick up Leoric's Signet or like, what is it? Lachlan's Signet to prevent that long wait for Una to wake up the hooded one, but I like having access to him. So we wake up the hooded one. I'm also grabbing the skill book for Una's Loot, and then I'm also grabbing the next tier up of Flask. So I think this one grants 90 life over 4 seconds. Greater gives 150 over 4 seconds. Grabbing that, very, very important for what we're going to do next, which is going into Freythorn. Here I'm, again, unequipping my bells, adding a new bell, and now I have 3 bells. And then, again, checking Renly. Do we have any gear? I'm looking for flat damage to attacks. Life. At this point, I'm seeing, like, is there any life on gear? Because I'm sitting at, like, 189. Going to Freythorn with 2 low life doesn't really feel that good, so I'm actually grabbing that. Looking for movement speed boots. These are really nice, but they do not have movement speed. Actually, I think we might have found movement speed boots at this point. Grab the well, and we're going to go back to Hunting Grounds. And from here, we grab the checkpoint, go to Freythorn. Okay, And now, moving in. This area is gross, especially without level 4 Locust. With a level 4 Locust, you can kind of just like pop things as you run. But Freythorn's another area that I don't understand the layout for this area. It's just like sometimes you get so lost. We're looking for 3 rituals, and then we're going to do the boss. So over here, I'm just clearing these out. What I'm really looking for now is level 11, because when we hit level 11, we get the next staff. We get Gothic stuff. So if you're speedrunning, very important to take note of at what levels you get major upgrades. So things like staff or weapon upgrades, where you get the next actual base type that can really, really improve your damage. Over here, we're hitting this ritual. I'm actually deliberately avoiding not hitting this checkpoint, because if things get hairy, I can run to that checkpoint, hit it, and refill my life. So if I get low, there you see, I hit the checkpoint. I'm like, okay, let's just grab that. So we get there. Here I level up, and I'm level 11. Very important. I know that I can potentially get a Gothic staff here. So run straight back to town. I need 22 dex for it, and we're going to go to Renly. There you can see. Next tier of staff, we got this. So grabbing this, hitting it with that. It's not great. And also just looking for flat damage to attacks. These are really nice, but I could not afford them. And then also just looking for life kit. Another important thing, block chance on shields. For later on, this is like really important. If you don't have block chance on your shield, sometimes you get chunked, like in Act 2 and 3. So block chance on shields. I have the upgraded staff, which quite significantly increases my damage. And now we're looking for the other rituals. So same thing. I'm still actually using my Contagion. Not really sure how much it's doing at this point. Bit of a bummer not having that level 4 Locust, but you know, that's RNG. Hit this. Oh, that was it. And now the long walk to where the hell is the last one? Hopefully we don't have to run through the entire area to find it. So the reason I like getting level 11 before King in the Mist is that if you don't have the damage, he can just wreck you. Preferably hit level 11. So there's all these breakpoints where you think, okay, how much stuff should I be killing to get XP, right? If you break it down into, instead thinking of like, at this level, I get this new base type, and I'm likely going to be fighting this boss then. So if I can get to, let's say, level 11 by the time I fight King in the Mist, I know that I should probably be this level by this point. So like Freythorn, I know I'm like level 9, 10, hopefully getting level 11 in Freythorn. So instead of like obsessing over, should I kill this? Should I kill this? Rather pay attention to your XP. See, relate your XP to gear or like passive tree points so that you know, okay, I get this at this level and then I have to fight this boss. And if I don't have that, then the boss fight is going to be really hard. So I'm going to try and get that. Here we go. At this point, we have 3 bells. And yeah, King of the Mist can normally tank that if you got an okay amount of life. He has a tendency to... Yeah, nearly died there. Don't you all just love degen puddles? Such a fun mechanic. And here's the same thing. Building up charge, drop the bells. Boom, 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 boom. Just tank that. My staff at this point is like pretty bad. So grabbing that ring. Boots. Always looking for movement speed on our boots. Here, sometimes you get something good. I think I ended up just going for what I thought would sell for the most gold. So got that. And here we're grabbing Herald of Ice. And we're going to go back to town. ID stuff. And Finn, he gives us one of these. So usually I'll go for the Topaz for Act 2. Act 2's got some like really, really scary lightning damage. And here I am, again, just looking for upgrades. I actually haven't leveled up, so that was maybe like a little bit of a waste of time. Should have hit level 12, then maybe looked. And now from here, we go to Ogham Village. Ogham Village has a pretty set layout, I would say. Sometimes it's like this, but you do get rotated versions where you actually like spawn like more at the top and you have to go down. But this area, usually if you just hug one of the walls, like the right-hand wall, you will find it. But there's another thing we need to find in here, which is Renly's tools. So here I'm just running through, wishing that I had equipped a level 4 Frozen Locust. There I leveled up. So I'm actually going back to town because my weapon is so bad. I'm like praying, please Renly, give me something good. And he had this, which wasn't actually better than what I had. And there's this, nothing good. If Renly can sell you like a decent base with 1 or 2 sockets, you can pretty much fly through all of Act 1 and like most of Act 2. If you get like a double socketed Gothic Staff, chuck a couple of runes in it, you're fine. But I got very unlucky on this part of the run. There I'm just looking for a bit more life and stuff. And movement speed boots, I don't think we got it. And before we do the Executioner in this area, we're looking for Renly's tools, right? So Renly's tools, they can spawn in a few different areas. So over here, it can spawn kind of like up here. But then if it doesn't spawn there, and you will run past it if you're on the way to the Executioner, it often will then spawn like down here or here. So if I didn't find this, I would have run to the checkpoint for the Executioner, then taken the checkpoint back, and then run along the bottom edge. It's very important that you get this so that you can salvage stuff to get Artificer's Orbs and also Blacksmith's Whetstones. But here we go. Smithing tools, and also, very important, this chest has a guaranteed rune drop behind it. So grabbing that, and then I think I decided, hell no, I'm not doing this. This is way too scary. Respawn a checkpoint. So if you do hit respawn a checkpoint, the game will unpause after you do that, and there'll be like a 2-second wait. But if you hit escape, respawn a checkpoint, escape, it'll pause the game immediately. So if you're scared you're gonna die, just do that. Like respawn a checkpoint, hit escape again, so the game actually pauses. Grab the smithing tools, and now we're gonna run to the boss. Now at this point, I remember thinking like, this is not gonna be so great. This boss is pretty easy. His attacks are all very slow, but that kind of thing can happen. I think actually, did I respawn a checkpoint and restart? No. Okay, we stunned him. Just getting the bells down. If you have a decent weapon at this point, like with 1 rune in it, you one-shot this guy. You just drop bells on him and he's dead. Okay, so now I'm clicking the lever and then going back down to grab the loot so that Latus comes out. So Latus, she's going to give us a level 5 gem, which is for our Ice Strike, which is very important. And over here, we're going into Manor Ramparts and got a nice little amulet. Decent resistances. There again. Thought I'm going to die. Another thing is just like currency management, right? If you get into this kind of thing, you'll get better at managing your currency and not like wasting it too early. What can happen is later on in like Act 2, end of Act 2, if you've just burned all your like transmutes and orgs and stuff, you're gonna be in a very bad situation because you won't have your end game weapon. But so I'm being fairly frugal with my currency, but I think you will see later on out of frustration, I'm a little bit more flippant with what I use. Here, just a nice rare pack, hoping he drops me something. Looking for damage to attacks. Still no damage to attacks on gloves. And in here I am looking to hit around level 13, right? So level 14, we get Ice Strike, which makes everything so much more smooth. So I'm looking, try get level 13 in Manor Ramparts and then 14 in Ogham Manor. And here I remember thinking like, I'm out of flask charges and very low life. I just need to hit that checkpoint. So here I'm like looping around. Checkpoint. Okay, cool. Instead of going straight to Ogham Manor, because I feel a little bit underleveled. Oh, there I actually died. Damn. I'm a little bit underleveled. I'm actually going to run to the Gallows. So Gallows has a fairly static spawn point in relation to Ogham Manor, and it gives you a support gem. So let's just go there. It also has some nice little magic packs next to it. I remember this. This is all because I don't have the level 4 Locust. Clutch level up. Hit that uncut support gem, running to the checkpoint, and then we're going to take that over here. Before we move on to Ogham Manor, let's just talk about the Manor Ramparts. This area, it has a fairly static layout where it's just like a loop, but it can go the other way where it like loops up and around like this. I think, let me just show you an example of, Softcore pretty much always has this layout, at least in the current version of the game, but you also get versions where it's, I think I got one, yeah, like this one is a little bit different. I think this is the hardcore layout where it instead loops around this way, but it has a very, very set readable layout, Manor Ramparts. So next area is a spooky one. So I've leveled up again. I know that there's certain gear I need. Gonna speak to Latus, get my level 5 gem. And what I'm looking for here is just a better weapon or damage on gloves and life, because Ogham mana, if you don't have, like, if you have 300 life, you're going to feel pretty comfy. If you don't, it's going to feel horrible. So if you're learning, don't worry, Ogham mana is like brutal when you're first learning it, but it gets better. And here, just looking for something. Like, I'm desperate at this point. There's nothing. He's like, this Renly is giving me nothing. I was so sad at this point. Those gloves are good. Those are good for life, but again, no flat damage. Can't afford it. I was thinking, okay, so here I am hoping, right? I've got this Gothic Quarterstaff with attack speed. It's got an open prefix. Hoping that if we can hit, like, if we could hit Fizz on this, or like lightning or fire damage, would be amazing. But we hit accuracy, obviously. So at that point, I was pretty bleak. But we've got like a decent amount of damage. So go back to the Manor Ramparts. And here, Ogham mana. This is where I really, really wish I had that level 4 Locust. So in here, this has a pretty set layout again. So it's kind of like this. You're going to have the exit here and your entrance here. In hardcore, it was sometimes reversed, like where it actually, you would go here and then go down there. Also, there is Candlemass who can spawn in this area. More often than not, Candlemass spawns up here in the top corner, either here or here. But there is a fairly uncommon layout where he spawns down here before the bridge. So each of these areas, it's like a large area, bridge, large area. This is true for each of the areas. And in first floor, we're going to go up. Second floor, we're going to go down. Third floor, we're going to go up. If in the first area you go down, in the second area you go up. Last area you go kind of downish. But Candlemass, he's going to spawn here or here and rarely down here. But do keep a lookout. Very important that we look for that checkpoint. So here I was just fighting with all my supports. And most important thing I'm looking for here now is just level 14, which is, yeah, it's a bit rough. I realized after this run that I would way rather have a level 4 Locust and 2 bells than I would have a 3 bells and a level 2 Locust, because you'll start seeing that I struggle a bit. Here is Candlemass. So we got like the northwest spawn. Hit that checkpoint, very important for laser. We're not going to do him right away. And there we go. Here we are just clicking chests out of desperation and locusting our way through. So you can see the layout that I explained. I know that the exit's going to be here. Stairs, if you see stairs, that's the way down. And now I know that I went up, so now I'm looking to go down for the next area. Essence of the Infinite, good XP, good Essence. This one gives us attributes. Just burst that guy down. Hope he gets us a drop. He gave us an Exalt, I think. And this was yeah, proper struggle sesh. This area is very scary. If you're trying to do this with 200 life, I don't know, it's gonna be pretty brutal. So there I actually deliberately went up there. Even though I knew it went down here, I kind of went up to try and just catch up on my XP. I'm about like 50% of the way there. Door. So door means it's just a side room. I went in here because I had no flask charges and my life was very low. I was like, oh, here's a safe place. Let's go here. And then respawn a checkpoint. Lost so much time in mana just because of like no good weapon, no level 4 Locust. It was brutal. And now another fun thing, respawn a checkpoint doesn't fill your flasks, right? So here, what you can do, you can go to the waypoint. If you go to the waypoint, hit the waypoint, it will refill your flasks. It's really silly. I hope they change that. But here, again, just desperately trying to get level 14. Like, at this point, I was thinking, please, man, please. So level 14, not only do we get Ice Strike, but again, it's a level up. So there's a chance Renly gives us something good. So we're really looking to hit that. There we died again. Weight of Shame. And then we go through again. Almost level 14. I know, I just need to kill this one pack and we're good. All right, sweet. So now, level 14, we got our Ice Strike, fill the well, and checking for upgrades. Do we get a staff? No, 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 nothing. I was so sad. Some decent gloves. Again, just looking for flat damage to attacks. Like, we haven't found any gloves with flat damage. There were some, but we couldn't afford it. Here, we got some flat damage to attacks. So I'm like, okay, I'll take these. Drops my life. Belts. Really nice belt, but I can't afford it. But just no good weapons. And again, like I said, I think my money management is a bit bad because I couldn't afford this. We possibly could have bought this and augmented it for flat damage or percent fizz, but I just couldn't afford it. Here I go for all the things I was saving to salvage, and I think I, out of desperation, actually qualityed up this stuff. And I also regaled it, and I hit 2 life per enemy hit. This is like really freaking desperation. I wouldn't recommend doing this. If this wasn't a race, I probably would have reset. But like here, I was so desperate for any kind of damage that I wasted 2 exalts on this, and then I hit mana per enemy killed, and then I was like, screw it, we're all in. I hit like a little bit of fizz. So at this point, this weapon is terrible. If we had an Artificer's Orb, it would have solved all the problems. But here we get our Ice Strike. Pop that in, remove Glacial Cascade, and we're going to link it with Martial Tempo and Ice Bite, and here we go. So yeah, that is one thing that a reason that I really want a bit of more crafting in Path of Exile 2 is because what do you do? Like the vendor doesn't sell you this stuff, the drops don't come, the currency doesn't hit. Like, what do you do at that point? So Geonor, what we do is just charge him up with bells, dong, 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 and then smash him. So at this point, my damage is okay, but my currency management it's just like very upsetting that I had to use a Regal and 2 Exalts to kind of like get a decent amount of damage, but it happens. I guess at some point you need to just say, look, I'm going to take this gamble now on my gear and hope that I later on get a bit lucky, because I'm unlucky now. Maybe I'll get lucky later. Here I missed Geonor. But this fight, if you just listen out for his voice lines and roll at the right time, it takes a bit of practice, but I still mess it up. And then, yeah, so this was like a 1 hour and 5 minute Act 1, which was about 10 minutes slower than I was doing in practice. Now, after killing Geonor, instead of just standing there and waiting, what we're going to do is we're going to take the lift back up to Ogham Manor, and then we are going to go to the checkpoint, and now we're going to do our Candlemass. So there's a long chunk of dialogue, but we can save time by doing Candlemass while that dialogue plays. So pop this dude down. He's going to give us plus 20 life. And then we go back to get our drops. And that is Act 1. So for anyone interested, join the Discord. If you're interested in getting into like the speedrunning stuff, we've got a lot of really good people there. Like Angomas has been there for a while, Alex, and all those other dudes who are like at the top of the leaderboard. Those people are all hanging around there. There's all that layout stuff that I showed you. I can also share like all the things I've been learning, all these documents. As I've been going, like thinking about how I've been getting better and what I've been doing to get better, breakpoints, all these things. So I can even do a video on this, like how to get better at something. This is actually just general for like everything, not just speedrunning, but this is kind of what I was doing to get better. So I've only been doing this PoE speedrunning for like less than 2 weeks, and getting 5th place monk, I'm pretty stoked with that, with the amount of practice I've had. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. If you want to see an Act 2 and Act 3, let me know as well in the comments. I'll be very, very happy to do this. But yes, that's going to be it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe. I'll catch you in the next video, and take care. Bye-bye.